Hmm.
particular, right? Let me
Oh
ask you
yeah.
this. I'm curious. So somebody that is filing your taxes,
Hmm.
that is not used to filing taxes for business owners, like what would be your recommendation for people that are 1099 and business owners? Like, would you recommend that they go to a tax specialist that specifically works with businesses? Because that's, I'm newer to this side of things, so I'm trying to
Hmm.
figure out just for myself too. Would it be beneficial to go to somebody that specifically specializes in business tax returns?
So yeah, I'm gonna say
Okay.
yes because so so only because I'm noticing. So if you're used to going to like an H&R Block or what a Jackson
Mhm.
Hewitt or just a mom and pop shop or whatever, you don't want to go to them because number one, they are only trained to do simple tax returns like W-2, for example. Now they'll say they know how to do a Schedule C form, which is usually the most common form for businesses as an LLC.
Okay.
Now, as you know, if you're an S corp, that's a different form. That's an 1120S, and then and so forth. So for you this year, it would be a Schedule C form, and basically, it's still with your personal,
Mhm.
but it's still saying like, okay, I do have a business,
Mhm.
and it's attached with your personal. So, but it's still
Mhm.
separate, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Gotcha.
So, but all in all, I definitely would not recommend just going to anyone, especially when it comes to business, because they number one don't know what you can write off. They know maybe basic information that you can write off, but I'm noticing a lot of tax preparers, they don't go more into depth. Like if you work from home, what's the square footage of your home?
Mhm.
Okay, what's the square footage of your office? Because all of that comes into play
Right.
with filing. So, and we just ask a little more in depth. And of course, we have like a cheat sheet, which is like a checklist of what you guys should be providing to us. So that way, instead of like scrambling on what you need to
Mhm.
do, it's like it's
Mhm.
a clear, concise checklist of bullet point. Like, okay, I got this, I got that. Oh, maybe I didn't know I could write off this. Okay, let me do this. So yeah, and I mean every business industry too is different. So like
Right.
if you're driving a lot, of course mileage will come in handy. If you have a vehicle over 6,000 pounds, of course you will qualify for the Section 179, which is, for a vehicle. You can write off your vehicle.
Mhm.
This year, I want to say it's down to 80%. I got to double check, but each year it is going to go down. It used to be 100% depreciation, but I want to say this year it's at 80, which is still good. I mean,
That's not
something's
bad.
better than
Yeah.
nothing, right?
Right. That's not bad at
So,
all.
yeah. So, I mean, but again, take full advantage of your write offs. Like, I can't express that enough. But at the same time, you want to also make sure you're specifying your expenses and not just putting, oh, I spent 20 grand on other expenses, and you're not specifying what those other expenses are, because
Mhm.
that's going to red flag you for an audit. Because let's be real, like they're going to want to know what those
What is
other
it
expenses
for?
are.
Right.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen some crazy
Really?
situations on tax returns,
I
yes,
believe it.
where people are coming to me and they're like, hey, my return hasn't processed. They send me their tax return, and it's like they'll make 80,000 in their business annually, and then after it's like other expenses, and it was like $50,000 in other expenses, and then you look further and it's like it was for fuel. Like
fifty
that's a huge,
thousand for fuel.
yeah. Yeah, so I actually just picked up someone that it was like an example like that, and I had to let them know like this is why your return never processed. So
Mm.
for me, it's like, okay, I'm letting you know we need to go back and just amend it, because they're not going to process that return. It's going to stay in examination, or they're going to push it to audit, and then it's just going to be even more big of a headache.
Mm.
So for me, I'm like, let's just go in and just fix it
Right.
before anything else happens.
Makes
So
sense.
a lot of different scenarios, can happen, but most importantly, definitely get with the right accountant, ask them certain questions related to business.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you ask, like if you're clear on what you're looking for when it comes to an accountant, you want to make sure number one, they can perform, what you're asking for. And that's honestly saving you the most when it comes to your tax liability, because at the end of the day, you are going to owe something as a business owner, unless you're like some of my clients who are in here, and you're heavy into real estate, which is something that we'll, deep dive in. But if you are heavy into the real estate game, that is why people are investing into real estate, because our government acknowledges, that,
Right.
like you need to invest, and that's how you get the biggest tax write-offs, and end up getting a refund.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's always a good time to buy.
Always, always,
Don't
always,
let
always.
don't let anyone persuade you into not having home ownership, because I'm on my way to home ownership, and I hope anyone who's aspiring to do that, you know definitely gets into that because yeah, that's the key to wealth as well, you
It
know. Yeah.
definitely is.